had one very interesting game last night. Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers on the road taking on James Harden and the Rockets. And early, it's Harden working on Leonard. And take a look at the exchange between these two guys, Jay Will.
Well, you saw, Green, the way they walked in. Kawhi Leonard walked in like he was 50 years old. James Harden is walking in on a mission. The reason why he's averaging 37 points per game.
Yeah, he made 7 threes last night. Let's go to the fourth quarter here. We're tied at 80 after the Clippers have been down by 17. And there's Steve Ballmer. My favorite thing in basketball are Steve Ballmer cutaways.
Steve Ballmer probably got more of a sweat than some players on the Clippers.
Kawhi would score 26 in this game, but then it is the Rockets who get out in transition, and they're knocking down threes.
How do you not guard James Harden? We're talking about the Clippers, one of the best defensive teams in the league, right? Nah, the stats say differently.
Rockets would open up that lead. James Harden knocking down another three. He would finish with 47 points, 6 boards, 7 assists. Rockets win. James, let's talk.
You had that performance, sick?
MJ, that's right.
So the other interesting thing that happened in this game, beyond the victory by the Rockets, was that late in the game, Doc Rivers gets teed up not once but twice, gets thrown out, and then his son, Austin, standing there, instructing the refs, get my dad out. Now he's got the fans all getting into it. Now Doc is leaving. He's aggravated. And Austin is saying, come, give me a call, Dad. Give me a call a little bit later. All right, let's talk about this.
I don't know if you noticed, but Austin was behind you, kind of telling the refs to tee you.
Yeah, well, he should. You know, he should. I didn't care. I saw him, actually.
It was coming. I can see him. I've seen that look before many times. So once he starts blinking his eyes fast, that's when I know he's about to level up. So I just started telling Tony to get him. And they got him. He's out of here.
You said Thanksgiving was going to be weird, but you actually played them one more time before Thanksgiving.
And then that will be, I doubt we'll go to dinner or anything like that. He actually is sensitive to stuff like that, so we'll see what happens. But I love him. I mean, it was a really good moment, though. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. I really did enjoy that. It was fun.
All right, Austin would later take to Twitter, and he said, well, Thanksgiving is going to be weird, and I assume we must start briefly there. Have you ever seen anything quite like that moment last night?
No, but this is like board games during the holidays. I mean, this inter-competitiveness comes out throughout the season. And my thing is, think about this, Greeny. Last summer of 2018, Doc Rivers, GM and head coach, trades Austin Rivers, his own son, to the Washington Wizards. To the Wizards, okay? So this is why this stuff happens, but I love it. It's good for the game.
So maybe that's why his son was getting a little payback last night. Meanwhile, there was other drama last night. Clippers guard Patrick Beverley fouled out of the game in the fourth quarter and then got a tech from the bench. I want you to hear what Russell Westbrook had to say about the defensive specialist Beverley after this game.
Pat Bev trick y'all, man. Like, you play defense. Like, you don't guard nobody, man. Just running around, doing nothing. It's not. As you've seen, what happened, 47. All that commotion to be a 47.
Now, we'll remind you, Westbrook and Beverley have a history. Yes. Let's talk about the Clippers defense.
Not just P. Bev tricking them, it's the Clippers tricking everybody, okay? When we came in at the beginning of the year, who was the best defensive team?
You said the Clippers were.
You said the Clippers were, too. It's the Lakers, actually, defensive efficiency in the league. Guess what the Clippers are? They're number 10. The Orlando Magic are ranked ahead of the Clippers defensively. Russell Westbrook last night, 4 fouls in the first quarter. No Eric Gordon, no Daniel House. Clippers should win this game by 20. Yet James Harden drops 47 points. Kawhi Leonard, I didn't see him guard James Harden most of the night. He guarded P.J. Tucker. Is that load management? Still a ton of room of improvement for the Clippers when they bring PG back defensively.
Which is all fine, but they'll work their way back to that, right? There's a difference. The difference between not playing great defense now and being worried that this is a lasting problem. Are you worried it's a lasting problem?
No, I think when the Clippers want to lock down defensively, they can. They showed you they did that in the last game against the Raptors, held them 7 points in the fourth quarter. But still, Grinny, we all thought they were going to be this demonstrative team defensively all year long, and that has not been the case.
And you just mentioned briefly how they looked when they walked in. I mean, Kawhi, look, I make all of my complaints about load management. I take back none of them. But when it comes to him,
you can tell he's hurting.
Yeah, he's not right?
Exactly. And Paul George adds a different dynamic offensively, but you still need Kawhi to be at the best he can be at the end of the season.
Yeah, and that's the question is, can they get that there? We'll find out. All right,
We have NBA analyst Jay Williams joining us now, and we didn't show it right
What's up,
there.
Al?
But hey, what up, Jay? We did have a really good game, obviously, between the Rockets and the Clippers. James Harden, great performance. Okay, he went for 47 in the win over the Clippers. This Houston team, as you know, plays at the fastest pace of any team in the West after playing one of the slowest of seasons ago. But how convinced are you that this particular offense is the answer to get them over that hump and into the finals?
Look, this offense is prolific throughout the regular season. I don't know if it's conducive to them getting to the NBA Finals. Their defense has to get better. They ranked last in defense a couple of weeks ago. Now they've inched up to 26th in defense. But still, when you have guys like last night, one of the things people don't talk about, Russell Westbrook had 4 fouls in the first quarter. And now he can single-handedly carry a team to the promised land. They just need to hit on all cylinders in order for that to happen.
They're certainly getting more possessions because they don't play any defense, so they're being more efficient, at least on that front. I want to go to the other side of that matchup, that being the Clippers. Paul George likely to make his debut tonight against the Pelicans. How's he going to change the dynamic on both sides of the ball?
The Clippers need him. You know, this whole first couple weeks of the season, everybody's been talking about the Clippers being the best defense in the league. If you look, they're not top 5 defense in the league. Miami's ranked over them, okay? Milwaukee's ranked over them. Orlando is ranked over them. So they're 10th now in defense, and you saw that last night. Russell Westbrook, 4 fouls in the first quarter. How the hell is James Harden single-handedly allowed to beat this team when you have Kawhi Leonard, who didn't guard James Harden last night? He guarded more P.J. Tucker. So now you bring Paul George back to the table. This makes him way more dynamic defensively, able to make those switches. And now you have 2 major wing defenders and a guy who last year, by the way, was top 3, top 4 in the MVP voting. So it makes a world of a difference for a Clipper team that desperately needs a guy like Paul George.
Yeah, I need him on that offense, too. They've been held to under 100 points in consecutive games for the first time since 2018 of last year. Small sample size. We're just a couple weeks into the season. Any early storylines that you're watching, Jay?
You know, I look at a team like Miami that is obviously playing extremely well, and you guys just made mention of it. I go to Minnesota. Minnesota's ranked, I mean, granted, it's early in the season, 6th in the West. Andrew Wiggins has really stepped up. You know what they should do? They should always make sure that he's voted outside the top 100 players in the league. Because if it gives him this kind of motivation to play the way he is finally playing right now, this is the Andrew Wiggins we've all been waiting to see. This is the Andrew Wiggins, along paired with Karl-Anthony Towns, that's actually playing mean, that's actually getting in fights with random people throughout the course of the season. This is the Minnesota Timberwolves we've been dying to see for the past 4 or 5 years.
Wow, a professional athlete motivated with a chip on their shoulder? Never heard of it. Jay Will joining us here on SportsCenter to break down the
players that we've assembled, but we also have to acknowledge that we haven't played at the level we expected to play at.
So let me get this straight. The president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks holds an impromptu press conference to announce to the basketball world that the New York Knicks have not played to the level they expected to. Needless to say, Steve Mills is standing on an island all by himself because almost anybody else who's knowledgeable about basketball absolutely expected the New York Knicks to look exactly the way that they looked. So it made no sense whatsoever to hold an impromptu press conference. As far as I'm concerned, he basically fired David Fizdale without telling him he's fired and without telling us that he's fired. That's basically a perspective that I think will ring true, but nobody knows it better than my next guest, the ultimate insider himself, Adrian Wojnarowski, who actually talked a lot and broke a lot of news about this New York Knicks situation. Tell us the latest, Woj. What do you think Fizdale's fate is in New York City?
Stephen, I think his dismissal is inevitable, barring a dramatic turnaround right now. And you said it there, Stephen, to hold a news conference while your head coach is still in the locker room with his team, hasn't even left yet to come to his press conference, and Fizdale finds out when he walks out that management is in there, essentially criticizing the execution of his players, the effort. And in that moment, I think there was a trust broken that is going to make it really difficult for Fizdale to be able to be in that position long term. And this is a Knicks team that is not constructed to win in the short term. And, you're looking at that roster for prospects in the long term. They're in a dark place right now. And, David Fizdale, as in a long line of Knicks coaches, is headed toward being the fall guy, at least the first fall guy for the failures of this Knicks team.
Let's transition to an elevated level of basketball. Let's go to Los Angeles, California, the Los Angeles Lakers, specifically Anthony Davis. Although he's been playing lights out, averaging about 26 and 10 with 3 blocks per game, obviously that shoulder injury appears to be bothering him a lot. What can you tell us about those developments? He's clearly not expected to play tonight. Anything else you can give us about Anthony Davis?
Stephen, he's going to be out tonight. It's possible he could miss another game. This is a day-to-day injury, but this is not long-term. I think one of the things Anthony Davis has really wanted to show people this season is that he's not fragile and that he doesn't want to miss games, and he's determined to be on the court as much as possible, but certainly they don't need him playing hurt or in pain, but they expect to have Anthony Davis back soon.
Adrian Wojnarowski, the most through 10 games in his entire career. Overall, no team has ever made more threes through 10 games than this year's Rockets with 157. I sat down with the Beard yesterday and asked him about his game, Russell Westbrook, and the Houston Rockets' title chances.
The best scorer of his generation.
Equally deadly from all spots on the floor, James Harden.
When people talk about your game, what is it about their critique of your game that you believe people don't get right, that they've misconstrued, that they've gotten wrong?
Everything.
Everything?
Yeah, or he's looking for foul calls, or he flops, or this style of play can't win, or, well, in the system of basketball, well, if a team is running an offense, who do you want to have the ball in your hands in the game or through the game? Your best player.
I do watch you, seeing how unstoppable you are as a one-on-one player.
Yeah.
And what I say consistently is that in a best 4 of 7, you're going to need more than that in order to win the championship eventually. To that you say what?
You look at 2 years ago, we played one-on-one ISO ball and we were a game away from the finals. Last year, our roster, we just didn't have enough. So it's not about me one-on-one. It's not about our system and our style of play. Like, in order to win or have an opportunity to win this league, you got to have players and you got to have talent. And last year, we just didn't have enough. 2 years ago, we had a chance. Fortunate injuries happened, and this year, we're going to run it again.
Last year, after you had lost to the Golden State Warriors, it was the 4th time 5 years that you got.
And we're not losing to no regular team.
That's right.
So, I mean, what you want me to do?
Right.
Don't show up, don't come out, don't start caring about me now.
So far this season, when you talk about Russell Westbrook being a member of this team, what kind of adjustment, if any, have you specifically had to make?
I haven't made any. Obviously, I try to find spots for us to get him going or whatnot. And I just try to put myself in his shoes. He's obviously had a franchise for the last 12 years, so I don't want to make it I want to make it as comfortable